Well, thank you, Phil, for the introduction, and thank you all for the warm welcome. But really, this is right back at you, because I am here to really thank all of you who've come from across the entire nation to share a few days of inspiration here in Dallas, Texas. And we've been honored to have you here. It's been a special treat to have these incredible national prominent leaders come in and share their inspirational stories about what the American dream really can be. So I want to thank Carly and Herman Cain for being here to be a living testament to the American dream that we fight for every single day. Another round of applause to these great Americans. Some of you who haven't spent a lot of time in Texas, you may think, gosh, it's kind of hot down here, but I got to tell you, the only thing hotter than the Texas heat right now is Herman Cain. That man is on fire right now. You know, I got to thinking over the course of a couple of speeches, and I know others of you have been in some sessions earlier today, you've heard a whole lot of talking. So I thought probably the best thing for me to do right now is to apply a lesson that I learned at the job that I held before the one I currently hold. Before I was the Attorney General here in Texas, I was a justice on the Supreme Court of Texas. And I learned the hard way about being too long-winded at the end of a day. I was speaking to a group about this size, and I came up through the back doors in the back of the room and kind of wanted to get a feel for how things were going. So I pulled up alongside a lawyer and I asked him, how are things going? He said, well, things are going pretty good so far, but our next speaker is one of those long-winded judges, and you know how that goes. I said, well, do you have any idea who I am? He said, no, I have no idea. I said, well, I'm Judge Greg Abbott, and I happen to be that next speaker. Well, you could tell he was embarrassed, but you could tell he was one of those quick-witted lawyers, so he looked back at me and said, well, do you have any idea who I am? I said, no, I have no idea. He said, great, I'm out of here. I know you want to be out of here shortly. Let me just make a couple of key points. Let me start with a story that is going on in Texas as we speak. You've seen more and more of this in the news, seemingly on a daily basis. It's a story about all these people that we see streaming across the border into our state. And you know what they're called? They're called Californians. Californians are coming here every single day. And my story is about one of those Californians. His name is Jay Adair. Jay Adair is the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar business called Coparts. And he moved his business from California to Texas. He brought with him hundreds of employees, and now that he's located here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, he's hired hundreds more. Well, I went to him to find out why it was he moved. And he explained. He said that he moved his business to Texas because he can see that in Texas we have less government than they have in California. We have lower taxes. In fact, we have no income tax whatsoever. We have more reasonable, smarter, more comprehensible, more predictable regulations. And we have right-to-work laws that prevent the union abuses that he and his company had experienced in California and avoids the disasters like what we've seen in Detroit. Well, it's those policies that attract employers to the state of Texas every single day. and it's those policies that empower the entrepreneurs who are already here. Well, the proof that those policy works are in the numbers that Texas has been able to achieve. Texas is number one in the nation for jobs. Texas is number one in the nation for exports. Texas is number one in the nation for energy production. Texas is consistently ranked one of the best states in which to do business. And a report came out showing the top 10 cities in America for job creation for the next decade. 7 of those top 10 cities are right here in Texas. But the key point is this: these policies aren't patented. There's no right, title, or ownership to these policies. Any state can have these policies. In fact, I would submit that every state should have these policies. And as Herman Cain was suggesting, as Carly Fiorina has articulated, we can no longer wait for Washington, D.C. to solve the problems of this country from the top down. Instead, together, we, the leaders of the states, must chart the course to preserve and protect the free enterprise system in this country, and together, we can change this country from the bottom up by us working together. Now, to do that, sometimes we have to look inside ourselves, inside our own states, and find ways that we can improve the conditions around us. And that's what I've been doing as I've been running for governor of the state of Texas. I'm even finding that even in Texas, there are too many regulations. I've seen one that really dovetails with what Carly Fiorina was talking about earlier. If you can think back, she was talking in part about men and women, entrepreneurs, small business owners who really want to start a business or grow a business but are hampered in their ability to do so. One of the key reasons that hampers that ability are the regulations that those business owners face. So today, I'm announcing a new policy initiative for the state of Texas that I would love to see replicated across the United States of America. It's intended to help more people get a job, create a job, or to lower the cost of jobs. Right now, there are 150 business activities that require a state-issued license before they can be legally performed in the state of Texas. Now, some of those make sense. Licensing medical doctors makes sense to ensure the health and safety of the people who are providing medicine. But why do we need a license to be an interior designer, or a junk dealer, or a shampoo apprentice, like what is required in Texas? Well, as governor, I will work to remove these senseless barriers that slow job growth in Texas. Over-regulation by licensure results in less competition, fewer choices, but more costs. It discourages those who want to start a business, those who want to begin a new career, those who want to provide more for their families. Well, doing things like this to limit the size and scope of government, to control spending, to reduce debt, to remove barriers so that Americans have the freedom to aspire and innovate, that can be the model for all of America. Now, it sounds easy. when you're just talking about it. We all know that in practice, as you're working in your capitals each and every day, sometimes it's a whole lot harder to implement. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you aren't where you are because you have decided to choose a path in life that is easy. You are where you are because you have chosen a pathway to make a difference. And let me just close with a story to emphasize that point. It's a story that happened in July 1984, 30 years ago. I just graduated from law school. And on July 14th, 1984, I went out for a jog. And while I was out jogging, a huge oak tree crashed down onto my back, fracturing my vertebrae and my spinal cord, leaving me immediately and permanently paralyzed. I see some people from out of state who haven't heard this story before shaking their heads wondering, man, how slow is that guy jogging to get hit by a falling tree? But it was after that accident that I was able to piece my life back together and to go on and not only have a career in the law, but be a member of the judiciary, serve on the state Supreme Court, and also be the Attorney General of Texas. And what I realized through that pathway is that our lives are not defined by the ways in which we are challenged. Instead, we get to define our lives by how we respond to the challenges we face. Well, your states, our country, the future of our children will be defined by how we respond to the collective challenges we face. And I look forward to working with you to respond to those challenges in a way that promotes freedom and free enterprise far greater than where we have ever been before, as we keep the United States of America the very best country in the history of this world. So God bless you all in your efforts. Thank you for being here in Texas. Godspeed on your trips back home. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care.